Welcome back. Glad to know you're still with us. You're still watching NTV Weekend Edition. Now, over a month ago, President Museveni formally launched Salam Bank Uganda at a colorful ceremony in Kololo. In so doing, formally introducing Islamic banking in Uganda. One of the many requests he made to the bank was to study the operations of the Parish Development Model system and study the possibility of using this form of banking to disperse these funds. Tonight, we have the Managing Director of Salam Bank, Mande, to share with us what is so far the progress of the Islamic banking system since the launch of Salam Bank. Good evening, sir, and thank you for joining us.
Good evening to you.
It's nearly 1 month after the launch of Salam Bank, and we would like you to bring us up to speed with how the progress and the uptake of this system has been so far.
Thank you, Mildred. Good evening, viewers. So indeed, it's close to a month since the bank was launched formally by His Excellency the President. Indeed, that was a ceremony that, made us very visible to the public and also, to the prospective customers wherever they are countrywide. So the demand for Islamic banking, indeed, as we had seen it, was there. But after that, after the launch of the bank, there was, of course, an increase, a spike in the demand for the services of Islamic banking, and specifically Salam Bank. We got, a lot of interested parties. We have signed on a lot of interested parties, and indeed, we believe that as we go on with this model of banking, the interest of the community will be fulfilled through Salam Bank.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, are there some challenges that have arisen from since the launch of this Islamic banking?
So there had already been existing challenges which we had observed. One of the key ones was really the understanding of how Islamic finance works. And after the launch, this just confirmed that indeed the issue of sensitization was still quite big. Indeed, most of the activities that we do for us as Salam Bank, whenever we have a client come to us, the first thing we do is to do some kind of sensitization to the client, so that they understand how Islamic banking works and specifically how Salam Bank works, the product knowledge to the customers, so that they have an understanding of specifically how the product will work should they take up the product. So that's one of the key issues that we've observed, and we still continue to see it. We know that it's going to take some time, but again, through partnerships with the media houses like yours, we believe that we shall go a long way in sensitization to the customers.
In your view, is the start of this type of banking a promising one?
Yes, it is indeed very, very promising. And for Islamic finance, and as we have seen it, it cuts across both the Islamic faith and the non-Muslims. So the uptake and the interest in Islamic finance, we have observed that it's starting to to balance out. Of course, the Muslim community who had been left out of some of the financing models, the prime clients that we have, but also for the non-Muslims who have understood how Islamic finance works and specifically how different it is from conventional institutions, have also expressed interest, and they are coming in quite some big numbers actually. Yeah.
Okay, so the last time we talked, there was interest in Islamic banking from other banks. How has this, have you engaged with some of them, those that are interested to take up this kind of the banking system, and how has that been?
So for that, I may not be the very best person to respond to that, because we are all, we all relate with the Central Bank of Uganda. So when a conventional institution has an interest in practicing Islamic finance through what is called an Islamic window, they express interest to the central bank, and they go through the formal vetting criteria that the central bank has laid out for them to be allowed to practice Islamic finance as a window. But for us, as a fully fledged Islamic financial institution, there are certain things that we can do with the conventional colleagues.
For instance?
For example, So as financial institutions, we do a lot of types of transactions. Some of them like RTGSs, real-time gross settlements. We do, of course, international payments. We do EFTs. So we partner with some of these institutions because these types of transactions have no difference whatsoever from the Islamic perspective and then from the conventional perspective. Where the main difference comes in is where we are doing financing. That is where the main difference comes in for, between Islamic finance and the conventional finance. So for us, in the current state, indeed there are certain areas where we relate with the conventional institutions, but still it's at it's at a low level.
Okay, when you talk about the difference in financing between the Islamic and the conventional banking, enlighten us. What do you mean by this?
So when you look at Islamic finance, typically in Islamic finance we do not trade in cash. Okay, in Islamic finance, cash has no intrinsic value. We understand it as a medium of exchange. Okay, but for conventional institutions, you know that when you go and apply for a loan, you are given money, cash,
yes,
and then there is interest on top of that cash. Money. Okay, but for Islamic finance, we do not trade in cash at all. So what you want to do with the cash is what we do for you. So when you go to when you come to Salam Bank, for instance, and you want to acquire an asset, we do the acquiring and then we sell to you a product we call Murabaha, typically cost plus profit. It's very, very straightforward for us. That is one of the modalities. There are quite a number of them. Others include one called Istisna, where we develop for you property. Okay, let's say you have land and you want to set up a structure on it. We go ahead and set up that structure for you. Of course, you do the design of the property structure that you want to your specifications. You do the BOQs and everything, get the clearance from the relevant agencies, KCC and all these others, and then you identify a property developer for you, And for us, how we come in is we go through, we sign an arrangement with this property developer who you have identified and also negotiated with and done everything with. So we could phase the project into, say, three sections, where we release a certain amount of money to the property developer, not to you, the customer. Okay? Okay. For you, you wait for a finished product. Okay. We do not give you cash at any point. The bank does everything for you? The bank does everything for you, and for you, you get a complete product. Does the bank get some returns on investment? Yes, so in Istisna, that is that product, we call it Istisna. Once we've established the product, the asset, the property, we then go ahead and sell it to you. Oh. Remember, you have done the BOQs, you know the cost of that building, right? You know everything transparently that will go into that building. You went ahead and identified the developer. He's he's known to you, you understand how they do their work. Of course, we do our due diligence to ensure that the BOQs are indeed accurate representation of what that building should cost. We go ahead and also vet the property developer if at all they have experience in this kind of work, such that at the end of the day, this company that you've identified to develop your property is indeed competent enough to deliver. So once the asset has been developed, we now go ahead and sell it to you at the cost which because you did the BOQs plus our profit margin, and then you pay that over a certain agreed period of time. Okay. So that is how we do development of some of these assets. Of course, there are these others where we have equity stake in a business and we share losses and profits, and then ijara for the leasing. There's quite a variety of products that we offer. Okay. So these are the ways in which we differ from the conventional institutions. Yeah. And of course, from the deposit accounts, we do not, when you bring money in your deposit account, how you brought it is how you find it. We do not give or take interest on that. Or the monthly cuts or the charges and so there are some minor. For example, let's say you have an account with Salam Bank. Remember that account, we may give you a Visa card for purposes of accessing your funds from any maybe ATM, point of sale machine, and any other channels. So there will be charges that will still apply. So this there is not material difference from the conventional institutions. But I'm sure you've heard of fixed deposits, where a client puts a certain amount of money in his account and negotiates an interest rate of a certain period of time. So those ones, we don't do them as an Islamic institution. Instead, we have what we call investment accounts, where you come. Of course, we negotiate the period of time, the profit, the return that you would get from the amount of money you've given us, which we go and invest in real tangible activity, and then we give you part of the return, or part of the profit that we earn. So these are some of the ways in which we differ from the conventional institutions.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one of the things that was highlighted from the launch was the President expressing interest in running the Parish Development Model system through Salam Bank. What progress have you reached so far in that regard?
Oh yes, indeed. So in the structuring of Salam Bank, as you may understand, we have a Sharia advisory board at the bank that certifies all our products. And indeed, all our products are certified by the Sharia advisory board. It means they are Sharia compliant. So in the conversation with government on the parish development model, indeed, consultations are still going on. If you recall, the President mentioned that he would proceed to consult with some of the leaders in the Muslim community to understand how it is that we would work together with Salam Bank to support government in delivering PDM through Salam Bank. For us, we are very ready. We are, as soon as the conversations are concluded, we will surely have the structures in place to be able to give Sharia compliant PDM to the Muslim community.
Yes.
Sure.
All right, Michael, it is usually a slippery slope in the banking sector, with many registering thin margins or profits at the end of the year. How do you assess your chances for this year? So in Islamic finance, and specifically for us as Salam Bank, the profit, as we call it, is really secondary to us. Okay, for us, the main goal in the business that we do is to ensure that we deliver the need of the client. At the end of the day, you realize that when you actually satisfy the customer, the profit will come in. Okay, but we understand that we are in the same economic times with the rest of the conventional institutions. We are affected by the same economic conditions, inflation, the central bank rates, and everything else. So we are mindful of those, but we also know that for us, our focus is to ensure that we satisfy the customer's needs. And indeed, when we do that, we have seen and we have learned through research that the profits shall come naturally. Okay. Yeah. So now there have been talks about plans for infrastructure support to Uganda, being targeted or channeled through Salam Bank. What do you have to say about this?
So again, if you look at the structuring of the Islamic products that Islamic institutions offer, specifically in this case Salam Bank, one of the things that we do very, very strongly is to partner with government actually to develop some of the large infrastructure projects through products we call the sukuks. Sukuks, Islamic bonds. Okay, so these ones, I am aware that indeed government with the central bank, they are coming up with the frameworks to govern the way sukuks work, and indeed as soon as that process is completed and disposed of, Salam Bank, we have already had conversations to notify the relevant parties that we are ready, we have the structures, we have the capacity to support government in the development of these large infrastructures.
Okay, yes. Michael, in a few seconds, what would be your closing remarks of this conversation?
Thank you very much, Mildred. I only urge the population of Uganda to come and try Islamic banking. give it some time, understand some of the product offerings that Islamic finance offers, and specifically Salam Bank, to see how it is that we will contribute, to development of the country. We understand that the Muslim community had, partially been left out of, socio-economic development programs of government. We are here to serve not only the Muslim community, but also, other people within the community.
Okay.
Yeah. So give it a chance and see the match that we can do.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Michael Mande, for making time to speak to us. He's the managing director of the Salam Bank, which is nearly 1 month old after its launch by the President Museveni. With that being said, we now take a break and return with news from the world of sport.